Girl in the Video is generally a good film. It's not perfect. I do feel like they gave away far too much too soon, so it's not as suspenseful as I would like, but I do recommend it, so I won't go into any spoiler details. But I will talk a little bit about what it's about and praise certain aspects, and I will talk about where I think there is room for improvement, but I'll do so without giving any spoilers. I'll probably discuss what happens in the first maybe half an hour of the film, but I won't go beyond that. This was released this year in 2020. It's directed by Neil Rawles and written by Matthew Broughton, and we have Cush Jumbo as Mo, Tia May Watts as Krissy, and Amaree Ali as Robbie. And Krissy is a teenager. She wants to go to this party with somebody who's a little bit older than she is. Her mother says no, and Krissy goes anyway. And she is kidnapped by somebody. I won't say who it is, but she is kidnapped and held captive, of course. And it's a race against the clock to try and find her. And pretty much immediately we do spend time with Krissy and her kidnapper. And I'd say we cut back to them at a pretty reasonable rate. There's not an extensive amount of jumping back and forth whenever we kind of jumped between her mother and the police trying to track Krissy down in the scenes with Krissy and what's happening there. I think it was a pretty steady pace. I never felt like I was being pulled too quickly from one place to the next. But unfortunately, the scenes with Krissy are so boring. Nothing happens in them. They are very, very dull. However, the scenes with the investigation I found to be really exciting and really thrilling. However, because we, the viewer, know more than Krissy's mother and the police, it's not as suspenseful because I'm not wondering. There are obviously some questions still, but we find out too much too soon that I'm not wondering the same thing that the police are at certain points, because we already know information ahead of the time that the police do, and that kind of ruins the suspense because we already have the information before the characters in the film discover it. And I feel like when you have a mystery, a really thrilling, potentially thrilling mystery like this, part of the excitement is trying to find out information. And if you have that information while the characters are trying to find it out, it's not really great. There are, of course, questions, though. It's not like we get all of the information at once. And I would say the last 20 minutes or so, I won't say what happens, but the last kind of 20 minutes really make up for how slow the bulk of the rest of the film is, because it is really gripping. So if you've started watching it and you maybe gave up with it, I'd say go back and maybe carry on a little bit longer, because it really does pick up and it really does become really exciting and definitely worth the experience. But there is definitely significant room for improvement with regards to the rate at which information is given, and also just the action of the scenes with Krissy. I'm not looking for anything too gory or graphic or shocking. Just something. Just any kind of action at all would have been good, and we don't really get anything. Basically, those scenes don't serve a purpose except for giving us information too soon. So it wasn't a great idea. I think it would have worked better if they didn't show her at all. If she was kidnapped, and then that's it. Because I feel like it didn't add anything and it actually hindered the experience. Whereas if we didn't know what had happened, where she'd gone, who she was with, the mystery element would have been so much stronger. And I would have been so desperate to get answers to the questions. The overarching theme, this isn't really spoiling it, it's something we learn quite quickly. It's all about online safety. The person Krissy met is somebody she's been talking to online, she's been texting them, and it's all about not trusting everybody you meet online. But I won't go into too much detail about how that comes about, but I do think they did a really great job with that message. And that is a really important takeaway from this, that if you're going to talk to somebody online, don't automatically trust them. And that's sounds like a really cold and callous way to exist, to not trust somebody as soon as you meet them. But unfortunately, that is the reality in which we live. In order to protect yourself, you need to not trust people, at least to begin with. And unfortunately, this is the situation Krissy got herself into. And yet the scenes with her mother, with the police, with the investigation, I loved them. I thought they were brilliantly done. Again, as a viewer, I knew too much too soon, but I still found those scenes to be very well done. The scenes with Krissy, very dull, didn't add anything, actually hindered the experience. And aside from that, it's an okay film. It's not too bad, and it definitely picks up as it goes on. Do I recommend it? Yes, it's got a great message. Likeable characters as well. All of the characters are either likeable or at least very well written if they're not meant to be liked. And the performances are really solid as well. So it ticks plenty of boxes. Definitely room for improvement. But not every film is going to be perfect. And ultimately, I came away from it feeling satisfied. I thought it was a good watch. Girl in the Video may not be perfect, but I enjoyed it and I'm happy to recommend it.